you ever wondered, who built the robot villagers? What does Tom Nook do with the things we sell? And where do balloon presents come from? If you've ever had questions like these yourself, then welcome to this series, where we do just that. Question everything and anything from a game's lore. Now if you're new here, it may interest you to know that we've made many more videos like this in the past, so if you'd like to check them out, go click here to watch the entire playlist of things we've got so far, such as the first video, or the one with Donkey Kong's teeth, or even the last video, which was Robot Villagers in Animal Crossing. And speaking of the last video, I gotta say, there was a lot of really good comments with your own theories and ideas about who built the robot villagers. And as much as I would love to get to talk about as many of those comments right now, I'm actually just gonna make a follow-up video, trying to get to as many crazy comments as I could find. And also talk about things that I did miss, so look forward to that. It's gonna be a while until I get that done, but I don't want to get sidetracked anymore from the main topic, so I'm just gonna ask. Have you ever wondered if social media exists in Animal Crossing? Now I'm sure we all know what social media is. We all use it because it gives us the opportunity to share the things we like, it lets us communicate with others, and it keeps us entertained. And that's just how it is in the real world. But is it the same in Animal Crossing? Well, if we take a look at our Nook phone, it's very apparent that there really isn't that many apps that could be considered social media. Unless, you know, you want to consider the chat log as social media, I guess, which is probably the closest thing to it. But it would make sense that the Nook phone doesn't have that many social apps on it, considering it was a gift that was included in the Deserted Island Getaway package. And maybe in Animal Crossing New Horizons, there's not really much of a reason why social media should be involved, because that's the whole reason. The Deserted Island Getaway is a trip to escape the busy city life, to a naturally abundant deserted island, to build a brand new life from scratch, all on an island with endless possibilities. And maybe in the end, the moral of all of this is simple. Social media, bad. So remember, make sure to follow all our social medias at TrinityRBG on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and most importantly, TikTok. Nah, I'm just kidding. The video's not over yet. You know why? Well, did you see what I did there? No? Well, that's okay, because I asked all of you to follow all our social medias to keep up to date with our what's its and how's its. Yeah, I may not use social media as much, but you want to know who does? Companies. And you want to know who's the owner of the company in which provides travel services like the Deserted Island Getaway package? That's right. It's Tom Nook, the owner of Nook Incorporated. And I'm sure it's probably to Tom's best interest to have some kind of social media to further advertise the Deserted Island Getaway package. But not only could Tom Nook benefit from having some kind of social media, but so could others with smaller businesses, such as KK Slider, or the Able Sisters, and maybe even OK Motors. Yeah, you guys remember them from Pocket Camp? You know, I wonder what they're doing now. But surely everyone who is some kind of vendor has to have some kind of social media to advertise and keep everyone up to date, considering the characters of Animal Crossing always end up relocating to a new area. Or maybe it's just word of mouth, considering the same villagers have been around for a while now. But you know, come to think of it, does the internet even exist in Animal Crossing? I mean, there should be some kind of semblance to the internet, considering there's apps on the Nook phone such as Critterpedia and the Nook Shopping app. And not to mention that there's 3 bars on the top left that could indicate there's some kind of internet connectivity. And I'd also like to note that on the right side of that, there's a little icon that does resemble Tom Nook a lot. So maybe the cellular data provider could even be Tom Nook himself. So that's pretty neat, if I do say so myself. But to get back to the Nook phone and its accessibility to the internet, it just seems like it's very limited when it comes to having different kinds of apps. But then again, the limitations of the Nook phone are probably due to the Deserted Island Getaway package, and we're only given the required apps to live life on our island. So what happens if our player wants to communicate with their family? I mean, we could communicate via mail. That could work, but sometimes a little face-to-face conversation with the video chat is always nice. So if Isabelle is able to chat with her parents, how are we supposed to do that since the Nook phone really doesn't have an app for that? I mean, our player could have some kind of personal phone to get in contact with their family, but I feel like a more reasonable approach is the laptop. Because if you take a look at the laptop customization options, there is an option that gives you this screen to appear with the chat tool. And in the little chat window, you can even see someone on the other side with a smile on their face. I mean, look at them. I don't know who it is, but it could be evidence that some kind of application that lets us communicate with each other exists in Animal Crossing. Unless when you customize a device, it's just as if you were putting a wallpaper onto your background. Which I gotta say, it's a really weird background to use, but I mean, if you turn the computer on and off, the background will always be there with the smiling man. Just staring. Waiting. Smiling. But anyways, when it comes to customizations for computers and laptops, it could help us provide some kind of evidence that the internet exists. And that's because there are screens that show an online shopping website and a search engine that looks very similar to Google. And to help provide evidence for social media, there's actually two screens that could help us out with that. The first one is on the desk computer, which is under web browsing, and it showcases a website that's very similar to YouTube, while the other one is on the laptop, which also shows up as a web browsing, which showcases the same website. And let's not forget to mention that that video actually has a cat. Not like a villager cat, but an actual cat. And I'm not sure if that means that cats actually exist in the world of Animal Crossing, or if cat videos are just forever ingrained in any kind of video website. The same goes for the human, because, you know, it's not the same proportions as our actual villagers. But you know what, that's a topic for a entirely different video. But now knowing this, it could mean two things. One, it could mean that the internet should be real, and that there are different kinds of websites like shopping and entertainment and perhaps even social media. And two, cat videos are still a thing and they exist. But you know, I wonder, who are the Mark Zuckerberg equivalents in Animal Crossing? Because if there's such thing as YouTube and companies like Nintendo, does that mean that Doug Bowser is canon in Animal Crossing? Hey, maybe he is. That could also mean that Reggie could technically be canon in Animal Crossing as well. Well, I don't know if that's the case, but one thing for sure is that I continue to delve deeper into different questions instead of staying on track with the main topic. But whether or not social media exists in the lore of Animal Crossing, I do think it would be a really nice addition if there was a brand new app added that allowed us to directly share pictures and videos in-game with others. And it would be called Nookstagram. Because technically Tom Nook owns everything. Well, I'm not entirely sure, but I feel like there's better names for this. And I know we already have the Nintendo Switch capture button for photos and videos that we could upload ourselves into the internet, but I still think it would be a little neat addition for a more direct way in the game, you know? But well, what do you think? Does social media exist in Animal Crossing? Who would have the biggest fan base / following in the game? And has Reggie actually been canon in the entire series all along? Well, make sure to comment down below with your own thoughts and ideas, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you've enjoyed the video, and hey, click that bell icon if you want more content like this in the future. Oh yeah, and go follow all our social medias. But regardless, that's all for now. Make sure to look forward to the follow-up video of the Who Built the Robot Villagers, and remember, always watch out for the smiling man.